I live in Madrid. I've been there for 20 years. Even though I feel very much Uruguayan. If they ask me, I always say I'm Uruguayan, even though I've been abroad since I was 12. But yeah, basically I live in Madrid. I'm happy to be there as
And
well.
do you think one of the things travel gives you is that sort of idea when as a writer you're sort of thinking of places and times and people, that it gives you a broader spectrum?
Yes, on the other hand, a foreigner is always an outsider, and usually outsiders can see things that people who are very immersed in that society don't usually notice. So it's not very good for as a person, let's say, because you're always a bit of an outsider, an outcast and so on, but it's very good for a writer.
Yes, that's absolutely true. No, I agree with you there. And I believe you went to Oxford University, having gone to your brilliant Enid Blyton boarding school. Did you enjoy university days?
Well, I must tell you, I just went there 2 days.
2 days?
Yes.
I knew you dropped out early because you fell in love, but 2 days?
Exactly. No, it was terrible. I'm not supposed to say this in public.
This is because you fell in love, wasn't it?
Yes, it's true.
And so, carry on.
It was complicated because I was living in Spain at the time, and I got into Oxford, so I said, oh great, I'm going to go to Oxford. And then my parents got changed to Moscow. My father was posted in Moscow, so they had to go there. And I said, oh, definitely I don't want to live in Moscow ever. So I got this boyfriend and decided to get married. It was all very quick, and it worked out all right for a while, and well, okay. Just for a while, but anyway.
You had your lovely children, though, of course,
yeah.
didn't you? So that I always say that's the best thing to come out of these things. But were you ever at any stage tempted to go back into education?
Well, then I had my children. So by the time I was 25, I had 2 young daughters. And then I decided now, I said to myself, bueno, Carmencita, what are you going to do the next 20 years of your life? Are you just going to be a nice mother and bake cakes and so on? But then, funnily enough, even though I was 25, I felt a bit old to go back to university. So I started going to creative writing, do some creative writing and so on. And that's how I started in literature.
So it was actually, well, in the end, you weren't sure when you started out whether you were going to be a writer, but actually it was children's writing, wasn't it, as you mentioned before, that you started out. How different, when you're preparing to write a book, if you're writing for children, obviously you write differently. You might write more simply, but presumably the sort of disciplines behind your writing are similar.
Well, I started writing for children because I didn't dare write for grown-ups. My father was loved literature. He learned classical Greek to read Homer, and Russian to read Tolstoy. So I didn't even dare say at home that I wanted to become a writer. It was a bit of a very daring thing. So what I did, I started writing for children, which I thought was easier. It's not easier. Writing for children is very, very difficult because, as you say, you have to choose the words very well. Nowadays, children have loads of things they want to do besides reading, so you have to catch their attention at the very beginning. And then, unfortunately, it worked out all right. And then it was quite hard to make the step from children's literature into adult literature. But I did it. So.
You've done it. And also, I noticed that, obviously a lot of your books are translated. Is one of your fears that, you lose some of the meaning when you do have copy translated?
Well, actually, I'm in the university here. We're in workshop for translation, and it's fascinating because they're working with one of my stories, and my English is a bit rusty nowadays, but it used to be quite good. So at one stage I could have done the translation, and it's fascinating to see how they choose the words and how they bisect whatever you write and find meanings which I never knew they were there.
How interesting. So when you have had it translated, I mean, your English is blooming brilliant. I shouldn't worry about that. So you will read through it. Are there times that you will say, well, actually that's not quite what I meant. Can we look at something else?
Well, definitely, yes, it happens. It says, for example, with my children's stories, when I see the illustrations, I always say, oh, no, he was fatter.
Yes.
And he had larger ears or whatever.
Fantastic. So you do get an opportunity to still put your input there, So what's next for you? Will there be another adult fiction, or have you decided?
I'm writing a biography right now. I like to change genres. I sometimes write short stories or novels, and I've written one biography. This is my second one, and it's a biography of a lady. She's Spanish, but she was very important in the French Revolution, and she's forgotten now. Nobody knows about her, so it was very exciting to do all the investigation.
And also exciting for other people who are waiting for that, because if we know very little about her, you're going to spill the beans, and so that will be fantastic. Carmen, thank you so much for coming on today. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you,
your
Charlie.
book is
it was
out,
great.
Child's Play, and I'll speak to you another time. I've no doubt at all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Carmen Posadas.